All right, so I'm with Callie
Yeah.
from the Oakcliff. So the blue, why did they pick blue and red? What was this little story there?
Honestly, they were the two boats, the two Oakcliff Bar 40s that had wheels. I don't know where the names came from, but our team name is Team Bitter End, so we got that from our sponsor.
Team Bitter End. All right,
Yeah.
so you are probably the amazing team, other than the Mud Rats, of just being loaded with young talent.
Yes, yeah.
And I've said this before, it was actually really cool seeing the Mud Rats finish last night. And,
Yeah.
And it's killing me, I can't remember her name, but she's 15, and she was like talking to her mom. And it was like, actually from here, seeing all the finishes, one of the coolest moments of like,
Really?
mom asked her how it was, and she was like, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so,
Yeah.
us older people are just like kind of take it for granted, but it's cool that first experience. And this was definitely your first experience, right?
It was. Yeah, absolutely. The longest race I'd done before this was it was like just over 200 miles. So kind of didn't compare to this, but it was really, really cool.
So on your boat, you guys were all of high school age, right?
Yeah, just about. We have one girl who sailed with us last summer when we all started getting into offshore racing, and she's just about 20, and she does boat building school right now. So she's kind of like college age, but she's still on the younger end.
I'd call that college.
Yeah.
So for the like people who don't know about this program, can you give us the quick story of how it all came together? Like, hey, that's a great idea. Let's just throw a bunch of kids on a boat and send them off to Bermuda.
Yeah, so really it all started last summer when our high school coach, Richard Feeney at the Lincoln School, started this offshore program through the Collegiate Offshore Sailing Circuit. We had a boat, a Beneteau Figaro 2, it was about 33 feet, and he just really drilled us on the basics of offshore sailing. We'd go out every weekend, do an overnight, and we all just kind of fell in love with it. And so from there, we decided we wanted to keep going, and we actually had been signed up for the Ida Lewis distance race, and that got canceled last year. And so we all went out to get dinner after getting pizza, and our coach, Richard Feeney, said as a joke, he was like, the next step's Bermuda. And he kind of like put that in our minds, and from there, we just had this idea and we really wanted to run with it. And so our team really spearheaded this, and we looked through different avenues of like maybe chartering a boat, somehow working with an organization, and through that we came upon Oakcliff. And there are different programs to do the Bermuda race, and we kind of approached them as a team, and we were able to create a plan with them. And it's just been really well organized and orchestrated, and I think that we've done a pretty good job of like keeping it focused on our team and on the kids and really getting what we want out of it.
Most, I guess it's probably bad to start, but most kids, I mean, when I was your age, like it's just the brain is so focused on dinghy sailing, 420 sailing, stuff. But I mean, like, are you guys all really sort of intentionally taking a different track to go like, dinghy sailing is what it is, but let's go do something bigger and greater? Yeah,
I mean, I can only speak to myself, but I'd say for me, I really, really like offshore sailing. I honestly really prefer it to dinghies. I definitely appreciate dinghies, and still like that's kind of how we compete for high school, and a lot of people on the team are very high level dinghy sailors. I'm honestly a lot worse at dinghy sailing than I am at offshore racing.
You learn new skills.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's just like a totally different sport, and I really, really enjoy it.
So what does he like about it? What elements of this?
There's so much. I'd say one of my favorite parts about it is that you're never really done. Like, it's kind of a sport that just goes on 24/7. So whether you're sleeping or up racing in the middle of the night, you're just always doing something. You're always focused on it. And I feel like it just kind of takes the basics of what you learn in dinghy sailing and really like expands them to new levels, and you're able to just become far more like involved in the process. And I think it's also cool that it's kind of a sector of sailing that's kind of dominated by older people and by men especially, and so I think it's been really cool to kind of break into that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Your role in the boat, I mean, how did it work out in terms of like assigning jobs on board?
So we all had like our official positions that are on like the crew list, and I was mid-bow. But in our program last year where we started offshore sailing, our coach, like a priority for him was having us all know what to do at all different positions on the boat. And I'd say that definitely carried over into this race as well. So we're all like have pretty fluid positions, and we have our starting positions, and like Sophia Comasky, our skipper, she's like really good at driving. But when we go into watches at night and things like that, like I ended up doing a lot of steering, which I think is really fun. And I definitely appreciate bow. I'd say that before the race, it wasn't my forte, but I feel like I've learned a lot from it.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
So let's get into the meat of the race then. I know for everybody here, thing I keep hearing is the relentless sea state and the hard and the blowing spinnakers. But when we were talking earlier, like, you guys like, not that big of a deal. But you're just in a different part of the ocean, or what?
Honestly, I think that for myself at least, I was really preparing for the worst. Because, you know, like the night before the race, I saw on the Bermuda Race's Instagram, they're like, it's going to be a real thrash to the onion patch, like 8 to 10 foot waves. It was going to be super windy. And I think that it all comes back to us being really well prepared and kind of bracing for the worst and preparing for the worst. There were definitely some points where our boat was a bit overpowered and we had some broaches and things like that, and the waves were big and it was wet. But overall, I think we were kind of all surprised by how, not easy it seemed, but how well we were able to manage it, considering the fact that it was kind of the first time we've been in conditions like that.
It's a little bit of, it's like when you see kids like bombing down ski slopes, they just don't know any different.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no end.
Yeah.
That's cool. So in terms of the race goes, were you guys in it primarily for the experience versus winning it? I mean, obviously you're both not like super dialed in. So
yeah, exactly.
So you go into it with a mindset that this is experience, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And how did that play out, how you guys sailed the race tactically? Because in your race, you still want to win it, right? You can't stop.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we kind of entered the race, and like all of our parents were saying, like, just do your best, we want you to finish, and that was really our goal. Just knowing that the boat that we had, especially compared to a lot of other boats in our division, was just not as big, not as fast. But we still were racing. We're in like race mode all the time, and I credit a lot of that to our head coach, Libby Greenhall.
So who's your head coach on board?
Libby Greenhall.
Libby Greenhall. Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
She is really, she's great. Yeah, she's amazing. She was a wonderful teacher. And she had us kind of all the time really dialed in and really focused, and always like trimming the sails, like constant trimming to make sure that we were as fast as we could be. And I think that we all kind of had that spirit, of course, of wanting to win. We're like, we're doing this race, we might as well do our best. So we were always in race mode and always trying our best. And I think that even knowing that we might not place super highly, if we're still in that mode, in that race mode for a long time, it's a really great practice. Yeah. And we did pretty well, like compared to what we thought we'd do. So, yeah.
That's a bonus.
Yeah.
She's probably happy.
Yeah.
Was she the only adult/coach on board, or did you have?
She was not. We had two other coaches. We had Katie Zimmerman and Allie Surratt. Sorry, I'm forgetting their names.
Yeah, you just been offshore.
Yeah. So we had them as well, and then we also had Maya Hoffman, and she was kind of like half coach, half student, and she was wonderful too. They were all really amazing teachers.
Cool. Well, you just went broaches and things like that, but was there any pretty gnarly moments where you're like,
yeah, I'd say so. We had a couple, the broaches, I'd say. We also had a scare with our boom yesterday. The gooseneck was really loose. We thought the boom was going to fall, so that kind of set us off course for a little bit, but Allie Surratt was able to fix that really well, really quickly, so we're really grateful to her for that.
How so? Did she just lash it?
She didn't lash it. We had to honestly, I don't know exactly what she did, but we got out the toolbox. She had a hammer up there, some screws, and we had to get the boom closer to the mast. And then, of course, the tack fell off of the boom, and so she kind of jerry-rigged that. And yeah, so there were some just technical moments like that were pretty difficult. And then the broaches as well. A little bit nerve-wracking, but nothing we couldn't handle.
I'd say everybody I've talked to so far blew out at least one spinnaker. Did you guys return with all sails intact?
Unfortunately, no.
That's another one.
Yeah, we had some holes in the spinnaker, which were repaired. We got a hole in the spinnaker, I believe, day 1 or day 2, and so we're able to repair that. And then one of our spinnakers, a really light one that we didn't use very much, also had a couple of holes in it. So there was a bit of damage.
Yeah, but no blowouts like everybody else.
Yeah, not too bad, too bad.
But no other breakages and crazy things.
Really, no.
God, you guys make it sound
pretty
easy.
Tame. Yeah.
And was Libby, obviously that's her strength, is doing the navigation. Was that her role as well? Or did they slot in somebody else for navigation?
Yeah, so a girl in team, Sarah Wilm, was actually on navigation. Okay. She was registered as that. And Libby and the other coaches as well were floats for different part of the boats. So Libby definitely helped with navigation. It's obviously her strong suit, but she's also really great at helming and everything because she just has so much experience. And same with the other coaches. They were really great at helping with trim, and Maya was on bow with Mila and I. So they all kind of had their different parts of the boat that they really had their expertise in. But yeah, that wasn't Libby's role technically.
Crossing the Gulf Stream, that was your first time, I'm
yes,
assuming,
it
right?
was, yeah.
Day or night?
It was during the day we entered it. It was
Perfect,
like
yeah.
evening though.
So what was that like?
It was really beautiful when we were first there because the sun was going down, and I remember I was on bow. We were like, I think we were putting up a different spinnaker, and we just went right into a wave, and I just got hit with this water. And it felt like hot tub water, like it was so warm. And I was like, okay, we're in the Gulf Stream now. And we also like knew like if you see cumulus clouds, like you know it's coming, so we're kind of prepared for that. I was surprised at how quickly we got there, honestly. And I was definitely a bit nervous for the currents there because Libby had kind of briefed us on that before and told us like she'd had a point where she was in a race and she ended up going in circles for 6 hours in the Gulf Stream, and I was just thinking, oh no, like we really don't want to get caught up in that. Yeah, but it honestly, it ended up being okay, and there were some big waves in there that were a little scary, but nothing that again we couldn't handle.
Yeah. Like everybody else, you guys mainly spinnaker, mainly downwind for you guys?
Yep, mainly downwind. We had the throw up a bit, but it was mostly spinnaker.
Man, you guys got it easy, right? Yeah. Hey, well, it's okay. So, with Sailors for the Sea, there was the Eco Steward thing that was started with this race, and you guys had one on board, and I'm sure it's always Eco anything is a group effort because you know we're all in charge of taking care of what we're playing on, and so what was the role for you guys in that position on the boat, but then is also part of the race?
So that was really mostly like looking out for trash and debris that we saw in the ocean, and to be honest with you, we didn't see a ton. I think that was kind of a result of the heavy winds that we were facing and the waves and things like that. But I know that there was an app that the Eco Steward was kind of in charge of where we could track like what trash that we saw, and so we were utilizing that, and we were just making sure to be obviously as energy efficient as possible on board, and just kind of doing everything that we could, making sure we were tracking any trash we saw, and we did pick up one balloon at one point. So
was it an anniversary balloon or a birthday balloon?
It was a dinosaur balloon.
A dinosaur.
Yeah.
like dinosaurs need to be a balloon.
I know.
It's crazy. The food part.
Food part. Yeah. My first experience with freeze-dried food.
And how'd that go?
It went okay. It wasn't awful. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. We had like a little jet boil that everyone learned how to use to heat up water. I probably didn't eat enough. It wasn't the most appealing food, but it kept us going, and we had like lots of protein bars, things like that.
Yeah. The protein bars save you. Well, but hydration, all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
too.
for sure.
I'm sure Libby explained that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to not eat and not do your human features. And kind of get so focused on, but it really kind of takes you down, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
How about your arrival into Bermuda? What time did you finish?
We finished, I believe it was around 11 o'clock Bermuda time. Honestly, I could be wrong though. I was not looking at my watch.
Nice and dark, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And how did it feel?
It felt great. It was honestly like kind of a surreal moment because we've been planning for this for so long, and I still I was saying to like everybody else on the boat, like I just feel like I'm going back to Newport. I'm gonna go sleep in my bed tonight. And then I realized like, oh, we're not in the middle of the ocean anymore. Like there's Bermuda, and once we could see the island, it was still a while till the finish. But it was just a really surreal moment. Really cool. It was beautiful. The stars were out. We had a really great finish.
Yeah, the amazing stars. I've heard that a lot. That not much moon, but obviously, but the stars are always. Incredible,
So
but it's like you're too busy to look out of it.
Exactly, yeah.
But just to look up and see the empty space and not listen to anything that's happening back at home, right? The silence and it's cool. Yeah. So as a team, then with Bitter End Yacht Club was obviously your supporter, and
yes,
so, So do you get some time to go down to Bitter End Yacht Club? Or are they gonna?
Yeah, I don't. I think that's something.
On Earth, by the way.
Yeah, we're trying to plan right now. We honestly got this sponsorship not too long ago, so we still have been kind of like ironing out details of like when we're gonna go down there. We don't have a concrete plan yet, but that's something we're definitely looking forward to doing. Yeah, we're super excited.
You gotta do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So then what's next for the team? What are you guys gonna do?
Team, I think this summer we're gonna continue training. I'm not quite sure race-wise what our next moves are. We were really just focused on this race for so long. We have been because it required. Yeah, it's been very consuming. It required a ton of planning from us, just given the fact that we kind of started just like a year in advance. Like typically teams have multiple years to prepare for this. So we've really been hyper-focused on Bermuda, but I think that we've gained so much knowledge and so much experience from this race that we'll be able to apply that to races in the future. So we're just going to keep training, keep entering races. And
so will you always do it with the Oakcliff boat, or will you kind of seek out something smaller, more manageable, or what would you hope to do?
Probably not a smaller boat. Honestly, I'm not totally sure about Oakcliff, I'm not sure like how that partnership will continue, but I feel like we have some really awesome connections there, and we've formed some great connections with people there that we can really foster and utilize in our future.
So, but for anybody out there watching, this episode of checking in with the Primary Sailors, I mean, like, would you love it if somebody said, what kind of boat? If somebody came to you and gave you a boat, what would you guys think would be ideal for what you're trying to do?
Oh, that's a really hard question. Dream boat? Yeah. My dream boat, I can't choose one, but I'd say one that's around probably a little bit bigger than 40 feet, maybe like 44 feet, 45. I think that given our team and like given the strength that we have, it's a size that we've really like grown to know and managed to work with, and they can go pretty fast. I'd say definitely a boat that's not quite as old as the one that we have right now. A particular model, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
Something a little newer.
Something a little newer. Yeah.
In the Lincoln School where you are currently, you're going to be senior, and everybody else was as well. Are they behind this too? And what was the school involvement, or is it more like you guys just happen to be in the same school?
Yeah, it was kind of, we were all like really brought together by the school and just by being together, and the Lincoln community has been like really supportive of us. No like official partnership or anything. But yeah, they've just been really excited for us, which has been really nice to have that kind of support there.
They're like, fine, you don't have to do finals if you're doing your safety at sea training. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's not the safety at sea. Everybody went through the program down at Annapolis, or
no, honestly, I'm actually the only one who didn't do it because I was away. I was at a semester school, so I wasn't in Rhode Island. But I've done all the online safety at sea, everything else that you can do, CPR certified, just not the in-person safety at sea. But the rest of the team did it, I believe, somewhere in New York one weekend. They were,
But even the online course, it's amazing what you think. What you think you know, you really don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. You really learn so much.
Cool. Well, awesome chatting with you, and welcome to Bermuda.
Thank you.
I guess we'll maybe see you in 2 years. Bigger, better, faster boat.
Hopefully,
And given the contention for it, because I was told last night that the Mudrat squad may have, this is not a fact, have set the speed record for the youth teams.
Really?
So.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I haven't checked up on that yet.
That's your next goal, yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Take it now. Cool. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. And, have a great summer. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna just keep sailing. I have an internship in Miami. Wow, pretty busy. Miami?
Yeah.
What are you doing as an internship?
I interned for the mayor there.
For the mayor?
Yeah.
All right, you going into politics then? Huh?
Maybe. We'll see.